Good morning and welcome to Way Too Early on this Thursday, July 3rd. We're going to start with some breaking news. You're seeing live pictures there from the House floor on Capitol Hill, where congressional Republicans are pushing toward a final vote on President Trump's sweeping domestic policy bill. You see Hakeem Jeffries there railing against it. But amid an all-night session, the chamber voted 219 to 213 to adopt a rule governing debate on the legislation that opens up discussion and then tees up a final vote on the package. Earlier, House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters he expected a final vote on the package later this morning.
The group will go down, get the votes necessary to pass the rule. We'll proceed to debate, probably 2 to 3 hours for that. There's an hour allotted, but Leader Jeffries gets a magic minute. I think he goes about an hour. Mine will be much shorter than that, and we'll proceed to final vote. And we'll be passing this bill, I expect, maybe around 8:30 this morning. Maybe sooner.
Maybe sooner, probably sooner, because in a sign of just how quickly things are moving, that vote is likely to come at some point in our hour, maybe in the 6 a.m. We're going to keep you posted as we watch it all. But this first vote is a win for the Speaker after Republicans hit a wall last night. A group of hardline conservatives mixed with moderate Republicans stalled this bill by not voting for that initial rule. Johnson held the vote open for 5 hours as he worked to garner their support. Then around 1 a.m., President Trump called those holdouts to rally them around the bill. He also fired off a handful of social media posts calling for Republicans to get this legislation passed. Democrats, for their part, have continued to rally against it. And then some House Republicans who flipped to yes after being no, and some persuasion, defended their positions. Congressman Derek Van Orden of Wisconsin pushed back after a suggestion that Republicans will just do whatever Trump asks of them.
Am I happy about everything? No. But there's a difference between compromise and capitulation. We're not capitulating. We're compromising. The President of the United States didn't give us an assignment. It's not a bunch of little okay, I'm a member of Congress. I represent almost 800,000 Wisconsinites. Is that clear?
Joining us now, congressional reporter for Punchbowl News, Laura Weiss. Where would we have gotten the idea that congressional Republicans would just go along with whatever Trump wants, especially when they speak so glowingly about this legislation? We'll get to that point, but I do want to go quickly to the House floor because Hakeem Jeffries is doing what we call a magic minute, where it's not actually a minute. He's probably speaking for longer than that, but let's take a listen to what he's saying in his pushback over this bill.
Hospitals will close. That impacts everybody in the United States of America. If your hospital closes, whether you're on Medicaid or not, you will be unable to get the treatment that you or your family needs. That's why we're fighting so hard to stop this bill. 1 in 4 nursing homes, by some estimates, will close as a result of the Republicans' assault on Medicaid in this one big ugly bill. This bill also represents an assault on nutritional assistance here in the United States of America. We've made great progress over the last 50+ years as it relates to hunger in this country. Great progress. But we're still dealing with the reality that tens of millions of people in this country go to bed every night wondering whether they're going to be able to get a nutritious meal the next day. Tens of millions of people in this country, millions of children. And instead of trying to address that issue, Mr. Speaker, the one big ugly bill will rip nutritional benefits away from millions of Americans, including children, rip food from the mouths of hungry children and hungry veterans and hungry seniors. That is unacceptable. That's one of the reasons why we stand in strong opposition, Mr. Speaker, to this one big ugly bill. Republicans promised to address the high cost of living in the United States of America. We believe that the cost of living is too high. Housing costs are too high. Grocery costs are too high. Utility costs are too high. Insurance costs are too high. Child care costs
We've been listening here
high.
to the
America
top Democrat in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, as
expensive.
he's been talking about
There
the
are far
problems
too
that
many
Democrats
people in
have in
this
this bill.
country
And you've heard Democrats on this
struggling to
show,
live
on our network, air these concerns before around lack of
paycheck.
funding
That
to
should
rural
not be the
hospitals,
case
around defunding to programs
United
like
States of
SNAP,
America.
nutritional
But instead of
assistance.
addressing
Also,
the
just
high
the
cost
cost
of
of living, where Jeffries is talking about now, a key issue in the 2024 presidential election that Democrats are now going to make the point that Republicans are not addressing in this legislation or during their time controlling the White House and both houses of Congress. Laura, you've been reporting on this reconciliation package for the entirety of the time that Republicans have been trying to jam it through. It's likely that they're going to do that. Can you just take us inside the House chamber over the course of the last several hours? You have been in there, somehow are still standing. Talk about the dynamics that you've seen unfold here.
Yeah, it was a long night in the Capitol, and we saw this kind of 24 hours unfold that we've kind of seen a number of times here with Speaker Mike Johnson, where, you know, it doesn't seem like he has the votes. He has a lot of problems all across his conference. He is in this difficult position where one end of the conference wants the opposite of what the other end wants, and they just have to find something to get the agenda done. You can't have control of government and not pass the bill. So they have to find a way. And through a combo of President Trump stepping in, White House meetings, overnight work, very late nights into the morning, and just going to the floor when they have the votes, they're on the cusp of, it looks like, getting this done.
That seemingly a lot of Republicans don't like, if you listen to Derek Van Orden. But why do you think that touched off such a soft spot for him? This idea that has only been borne out through this Congress, that whatever Trump wants, he can get them to yes on. Why do you think they're so sensitive about that?
I think, you know, it's hard. As a member of Congress, that's a big role. And, you know, want the vision of kind of making those decisions and calls themselves. I mean, that's why you see some of these members of Congress holding out, trying to make demands, trying to get concessions. But that's a very difficult thing to do under the Trump administration. We saw that play out over the weekend with Senator Thom Tillis voting no against the bill and just in a world of pain from President Trump, and then announcing very quickly he wasn't going to run for re-election. And so, you know, it's just a very difficult time to stand in the way of this bill. And it's understandable they don't love the image of that.
Yeah, and to stand in the way of President Trump, who has really rebranded this party in his MAGA image. The role of the president in this, I think, is really interesting. But what I also think is interesting is the fact that for hardline conservatives or moderates, there's actually no changes in this. They got to yes through a series of sideline promises and conversations with people like the Treasury Secretary and the head of OMB, Russ Vought. Can you talk us through what some of those side promises might have been and why they're talking about even a second reconciliation package? Because this one seemed like they had a really good time with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would be something. Yeah. But, you know, it's always easier when there's the promise of future legislation to kind of get members hopeful about what you might be able to do in the future. And Republicans, I'm sure, would love to pass another reconciliation bill to do more on sort of a party line vote. But obviously, that would be very difficult, as we've seen. But yeah, there was this sort of work through the night. We saw a lot of members of the House Freedom Caucus, fiscal conservatives meeting, huddling, talking to, as you mentioned, Trump administration officials. Some of the things they were talking about is wanting to understand not only what's in the Senate bill, because the bill was changed up until the end in the Senate, very quickly there.
Less than 24 hours to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, in addition, understand what the administration could do on the implementation side. So I think that's sort of where you see some of these members understanding they were being told the bill is not changing. And so they saw a closed door there, and they said, OK, what we can do is try to get some commitments on implementation, maybe executive orders. Those are the kind of things they were talking about. That being said, those aren't necessarily going to be that firm commitments. We don't know exactly what they were promised yet. You know, the bill is the bill. That's what they have control and a vote over. But it was enough for them to decide to get to yes.
And I want to remind our viewers, as Hakeem Jeffries takes a sip of something, I hope it's coffee at this point, and continues his magic minute, that these are live pictures of what's going on Capitol Hill. One of the words that viewers might end up hearing a lot after this is the idea of rescissions or pocket rescissions. What does that mean, and why is it actually important to conservative members who didn't get the chance to put their own stamp again on this bill?
Yes, so that's clawing back government funding, and that is something that is a huge conservative priority. They want to cut spending so badly, but you can't cut annual appropriations in a bill like this through reconciliation. It doesn't meet the rules. And so they're talking about having this other opportunity. There is a bill over in the Senate, but it does have some problems there where there are moderates like Senator Susan Collins with concerns. So nothing's going to be a slam dunk in these thin margins in this Congress.
Yeah.